Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by former undefeated British cruiserweight champion Richard Riakporhe. Richard, how you doing?
How you doing? How you doing, Danny? You alright?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Very good, very good. Just coping.
I don't normally make notes for these Zoom call interviews. I usually rely on my knowledge, which is always a risky game anyway. But I haven't spoken to you since April, and it's only 8 months, but loads has happened since then. And I've had to actually break the pattern and make some notes this time because there's so many things to talk to you about. I want to start off with the change of trainer. And when it was first announced that both yourself and Dillian Whyte would no longer be training with Mark Tibbs, were you out in Portugal with the guys or were you back here?
I was back here.
So
I was in London.
So when did you kind of make that decision that you would also be splitting, or how did that all work out? Because you weren't over there with them.
So basically, it came with a decision. I received an opportunity to train at the Loughborough institution. And, I thought it was perfect because I believe the best performances from Dillian were when he was based there. And I thought that would be good for me. I trained there when I fought Chris Billam-Smith.
Right.
Was that me or you?
It just cut off on your side. I still hear you.
Sorry, one moment.
Right,
sorry.
No worries.
Okay. I'm back again.
All right. So just saying about Loughborough, you had a great performance there, having trained there for Chris Billam-Smith.
Yeah, so I trained there before. Me and Deion did a camp there when he was training for Parker, and another camp when he was training for Lucas Brown. So I thought, you know what? Let me just take this opportunity and train from up there and just utilize everything that they were offering in the institution. So with that decision, a lot had to change. I couldn't no longer train with Mark Tibbs, and Mark Tibbs had a lot on. He was going back and forth to Portugal at the time. It was before Dillian actually made his decision. So after that, that's when I, had a word with Mark, and, made sure everything was amicable, and Angel was based up there. He had a project going on there. So I thought it would make sense if I was to use him as a trainer. And that's when I just made my change. I came up with, made my decision, which was really difficult for me, to be honest. And then, and now here I am,
It must have been a tough decision. You started your pro career with Ted Bammy in the corner, but since linking up with Mark Tibbs, you'd won British title together, WBA Intercontinental as well, and had that win over Billam-Smith, which is a standout on your record as well. What was it that swung it? Was it the facilities at Loughborough more than anything, or something new that Anthony Fernandez could bring to your game?
I think it was a mixture of both. I feel the facilities, they were amazing. You're outside, out mind. You have, you're much more focused because the environment is pretty much based and made up of athletes. When you look out the window, you see athletes running everywhere. You see gold medalists and Olympic medalists just running about, and everybody's just on their A game. And I kind of felt like I needed that environment. Too much distractions in London. A lot of friends calling you to come out when you're supposed to be resting up. You have the female attention as well. And I thought it would make sense. So for me to get the most out of my career, these are the changes that I needed to make. And I had a conversation with a few people, and then I literally made my decision, just took action.
That's why I moved out of London years ago as well. All the female attention, it was just too much in the end. I was worn out, couldn't get anything done.
You must have had a hard time.
I can empathise, I can relate. Anthony Fernandez, obviously known well for some of the work he's done, both in his own right and as an assistant trainer with Anthony Joshua in more recent times. What do you feel, early stages obviously, but what do you feel he's already bringing to your game?
Just kind of just he's helped me a lot with my boxing IQ, rhythm, just setting things up, just overall boxing and technique, and just relaxing more, just getting things. It's just, to be honest, a lot of people think, it's all about working on these combinations and doing this slip and here and there, but really it's just the simple things, relaxing and just being able to perform under pressure.
And are you staying up in Loughborough when you train with him, like for long periods of time, or are you commuting? How's that working?
Yeah, so I'm staying there and commuting. So I'm back and forth pretty much. But when I'm in full camp, I'll be based up there and I wouldn't be moving up and down.
And will there be opportunities, or maybe there already has been, to work up in Sheffield at the EIS as well when Angel is drafted in to help Joshua?
Yeah, so I've already got... Angel's already had conversations with Rob McCracken and has spoken to us about opportunities for me to be pretty much based up there, so be back and forth because it's pretty close. So yeah, it's perfect.
Are you quite excited about that? Because obviously Loughborough itself is a world-class facility, but Sheffield is not only that, but you have some of the top amateur boxers in the world to work alongside also.
Yeah, of course. There's tons of fighters down there. Trevor Clark, you have Ben Whitaker, a few other guys that I don't know, and everybody. These fighters are aspiring medalists for the 2021 Olympics. So, they're going to be big names come next year, especially if they medal, and I believe they will. If they continue working hard. So, I feel like it's a privilege for me as well to get down there. I always wanted to be an Olympian and win a gold medal. So I'll take something out of it, kind of being there, being in the institution and sparring with all these guys, whatever we're working on. And all of the best fighters have been using this type of facility for a period of time. Carl Froch, one name to mention, Anthony Joshua, Boissy, all of them do their work up there. So I think that's perfect. That's perfect for me.
And are you still in quite regular contact with Dillian, although you guys aren't training out at the same gym anymore?
Yeah. So it's on the phone to him the other day, discussing, next opponents and stuff. So yeah, pretty much in contact. I plan to actually even go up to Portugal soon, but obviously when the time is right. But yeah, I think I train better when it's hot. This cold, it's kind of wanted me to kind of change scenery, but we'll just have to wait and see.
And on that note about next opponents, we haven't seen you in the ring since the end of last year. Pandemic aside, that's obviously been an issue for everyone, but why have we not seen you back by now? Matchroom have put on quite a few shows. I think a lot of people would have liked to have seen you out.
Yeah, it's been pretty difficult. We're trying to work and stay on the right trajectory. And some of the fights that had been offered to us didn't really make sense for us career-wise, so we turned some down. And we want to start working towards our goals. I'm not getting any younger, and I think it's a perfect time, to start pushing it and taking up a notch. And plus, we had the injury, so that was one of the main reasons why I had been out for a long time. But I feel like COVID kind of worked in my favor. So everybody else returning to the ring has been out for pretty much over a year, or around a year. So that's pretty much me. By the end of this month, it'll be a year. So I think it's perfect anyway. It gave me a good enough time for me to rest and recover. And we've been working on different things, especially with the change of coaches. So it makes sense.
And in terms of kind of kicking on and moving towards a world title shot, is that the main reason why you relinquished the British title not too long ago also?
Yes, exactly that. And yeah, we just wanted to start to push on to, world title eliminators. Eddie Hearn was talking about it in his interview when he was trying to make the fight for the 21st of November. A lot of opponents got an offer and they turned it down for one reason to another. But we just kept the faith. They're working on opponents for the Dillian Whyte and Povetkin undercard as well. A lot of, but you know, it's everybody wants the bag. Everybody wants the cash, and you know, some people just know that, you know, I'm a dangerous opponent. You know, I look easy maybe to beat. I could look easy to beat on the YouTube, but in real life, when you step in the ring, you see it's quite difficult. You know, everybody that's tried so far has failed. And yeah, so we just want to keep it like that and wait until these opportunities are put in front of us, and we just jump straight back in. So we'll see how that turns out. So if there's one fight they're looking at the minute, if that gets made, it will be really good. It will be really good. The fight fans will be really happy. And as I do normally, I'll go for I fight people with winning records. So you know, it will be a fight, 100%.
Your WBA number 3, so that seems the most probable route to a world title. They've got, by the looks of it, 4 fighters with different versions of their world title at the moment, if you include the gold belt and the interim belt as well. Is there one in particular you want in terms of the title or the opponent?
I want to, you know, I never really thought of this, but I want a world title. You know, of course, the super sounds, you know, a bit more appealing. Love the WBC, IBF, all of them. You know, I don't really mind as long as it's a world title. That's what I want for now, and then we'll worry about, you know, unifying and maybe going for specific belts for my like personal desire. So I don't mind. I just want to get that world title and start to move on and kind of plan what I want to do in my next phase of my career, where I want to unify and move up to heavyweight or whatever.
And another British cruiserweight who was supposed to have a world title shot this week is, of course, Lawrence Okolie against Krzysztof Glowacki, who unfortunately fell victim to COVID and is out of their projected fight for the Joshua undercard. Eddie Hearn said in an interview recently, top 10 cruiserweights slide into my DMs. He's got a top 10 cruiserweight in his stable, promotional stable already, so no DMs necessary, surely. Have you been approached?
Yeah, I have been approached. So they offered a fight for next week, but you know, it's quite ridiculous. You know, been
slightly short notice.
Preparation. Pardon?
Slightly short notice.
Yeah, just slightly short notice. I made a tweet. You know, I said, "Listen, give me 6 weeks. I'll smoke this guy like a Cuban cigar," and I really meant it. But I'm not. I won't disrespect my opponent to take it in a week's time. You know, even though I know I can beat him. You know, this is a real game. This ain't a fairy tale. And for me to really give myself the best chance, I have to make sure that I prepare. At least give me 3 weeks, 3 weeks and a half, maybe. Yeah, but you know, yeah, it wasn't ideal.
Was it hard though to turn it down? Because although with your sensible head on, you know, a week's notice is ridiculous for someone of this stature. The flip side is, I bet the money was excellent, and it's a chance at a world title, which you've wanted for a while.
Yeah, of course. You know, it's a chance at a world title I dream about every night, and you know, getting the opportunity, it's like flipping Christmas come early. So, you know, it's like Danda Santa, Danda Claus was in the DMs early.
Yeah, I'm
giving me some presents.
No one will understand it if I change it back.
So it's, you know, it's kind of tough, but I just thought, you know what, I put everything in perspective. Like I am, I would love to just jump in there and take a fight. And to be honest, I actually had to get persuaded not to take a fight, not to take that type of fight with that short notice. Is actually stupid, but that's the difference. You know, that's why it's important to have advisors around you, good advisors, and to kind of help you to make good decisions and to kind of see everything with see things from a bigger picture. You know, see the bigger picture. Let's put it that way. So yeah, of course, it was definitely difficult. The biggest person I've ever received. You know, or could have received. So and the world title, you know, my dream. That's the most important thing for me. You know, the person's cool, but the world title is how I cement my name in the books, and that's what I care about the most. But you know, I believe opportunity will come again. and everybody definitely wants to see that fight between me versus Okolie. So we'll see in the future how everything pans out. I think this guy Sislak, I think he took the fight. I think he's taken the fight. He fought yesterday, and he looks pretty decent. You know, I think he'll be entertaining for the fans. I think he'll definitely be entertaining. I do believe that he does lack power, even though he's had some, you know, probably 20 fights, 21 fights, but he hasn't really gone against anybody with proper winning records at all, you know. And he looks pretty. He has the stance, good punch selection. I seen him against Makabu. He lost against Makabu.
Yeah.
Took some body shots and he went negative straight away. So I feel like Lawrence Okolie will stop him later on in the fight if that fight is happening. But we'll see. I'm not too sure. But yeah, we're just going to be patient and carry on working and focus on what's next for us.
Well, I appreciate the prediction. It saves me having to ask for it. But
Yeah.
I am going to ask you for another prediction. The British title that you relinquished. You've got
Yeah.
a former victim in Chris Billam-Smith going up against the mandatory contender in Deion Jumah. Who do you fancy in that one and why?
You know, to be honest, that's a tricky one. But I do fancy CBS probably for a stoppage. But apparently he had to have a eye operation.
Oh, right.
So I don't know if anybody knows about this, but he pulled out the fight. That fight was supposed to happen on the 21st before Povetkin tested positive for COVID. So he pulled out that fight. Apparently had to undergo surgery for the eyes. And, you know, if I'm going to guess, it could be a dislocated retina or some type of dilation to the retina, which is, these injuries are crazy. Let's just put it that way. I do not believe you can just jump straight back into the ring after undergoing surgery after maybe 2 months. That's ridiculous. You'll need time to heal. Then you'll need to be tested again to see what's the extent of the injury. If it's a broken or cracked orbital, that's definitely going to need time to heal as well. And as we heard from the Anthony Gogo interview, he said he felt like he suffered a crack and then went into the fight and it did further damage. So he's going to have to be careful. I don't know the type of injury he's got. So that might be, you know, fell through that fight. So we'll see what else is next. But if that fight was to go on, I would say, CBS for a stoppage.
As we're talking about eye injuries, something that I should ask you about, as everyone seems to be having their opinion canvassed on the subject, is the Daniel Dubois stoppage defeat, or knockout defeat rather, against Joe Joyce from last week. What did you make of how the fight ended?
Yeah, you know what? I felt like he did the right thing. You know, we don't know what he felt in there. You know, a lot of people haven't experienced that type of injury in the ring, especially I'm talking for boxers or some people that have fought before. And, you know, he knows he could have felt a type of sharp pain or felt his eye injured somehow. And he thought, you know what, let me just take the knee just to save myself. I think it's a very intelligent move to make. And a lot of boxing fans believe the same thing. The only problem is, from a fighter's perspective, that's forbidden. Let's just put it that way. You know, they will say, listen, take your beating. Me personally, come from my background, I couldn't do that. I couldn't come back home. I couldn't come back to where I live, unfortunately. So it's not in my kind of blood to just do that. I'd rather just get knocked out. You know what I mean? Just take the battering. Like, honestly, it's just a mindset, though. You know what I mean? But from this perspective, you know, from Richard Riakporhe, just kind of analysing it, not in fight mode, 100%. Yeah, it's a good decision. You know, look at Anthony Gogo. He said that he cannot play snooker no more. He can't actually look down. These muscles that operate the eye doesn't work. They just look straight. So he can't look down. He can't do kick-ups. You know, what's life like living like that? You know what I mean? Just to entertain people, and for how much, which is what you have to consider as well. You know, it's serious going into the ring, and it kind of just made everybody realize that, you know, this sport is not a game. You know, you have to respect fighters that risk their lives and jump in the ring, because ultimately that's what they're doing. You know, for everybody else's entertainment. This is a serious game for us. I remember I was I could tell you tons of stories. You know, I remember sparring Dillian, for instance. The first shot he threw was a hook, and I had a headgear on, and he perforated my eardrum straight away. The first shot, you know, people couldn't even imagine what that feels like. It felt like my ear was blocked, and I'm blowing through my nose to unblock it, but air's coming out of my ear like it's some cartoon or something crazy. But thankfully, my equilibrium was still intact, so I continued sparring. I remember I was in a ring. I fought a journeyman, threw overhand right, and I couldn't see. I was blurred. So I was about to press him, but I lost all sense of balance and just my ring position. So I just had to hold off a little bit. Went to sit down in the corner, and I just revived somehow. You know, then just stopped in the next round. So this is these little things that we go through, and it wasn't even a clean right hand. It was just more of a, you know, one that kind of grazes in the right place. So yeah, of course, you know, you can imagine what that must have felt like. You know, I don't blame him.